Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. We go ahead and begin the scene quite abruptly, actually. We got a man on first. We got a man on second. Currently, the scoreboard is 7 Hares, 9 to the Lions. We're at the bottom of the 6th inning. We've already had 2 outs. Across the field, there's a bit of a shush as the batter goes ahead and takes his stand. He takes the aluminum bat, goes ahead and pats it on home plate, looking at the pitcher. Oh, this is indeed a closer. The closer is fresh. The closer has been sitting on the bench mostly the entire game and has come out just for 2 outs. He goes ahead and looks at his team sitting on their own side of the field. They look dejected. They look like they don't got a chance in hell. Behind him, the catcher goes ahead and gives a little bit of a grimace, goes ahead and gives a little bit of a laugh. The man is batting. Goes ahead and rears his aluminum bat. Goes ahead and points to the far side of the field, towards the left outfield. And he smiles, looks over to the stands, gives a bit of a smile, where he sees somebody that he has gone ahead and invited over. He is incredibly cocksure of himself. Maybe, just maybe, this is all part of his plan. Maybe the stars have aligned in such a way that, and for strike. The ball goes ahead and whizzes past the batter without him even realizing it's already gone. Behind him, the umpire goes, strike one! And Jacques goes ahead and lays his head pretty much in shame and disgust with himself. Fuck. Gotta focus, he says, getting his jitters up. He goes ahead and looks at the pitcher. Come on. The pitcher goes ahead and throws. It's wild. It goes ahead and spins around in 360-degree angles as Jock again swings, this time at least. Misses. Ball goes just under his bat. The referee goes ahead and says, strike two! Jock at this moment is kind of annoyed, kind of devastating. This was not the kind of showing that he actually wanted to give. And he goes ahead and focuses on himself. Goes ahead and slaps himself a few times. Okay, come on. He goes ahead and looks. Goes ahead and concentrates. Let's see what happens. Where are you? Screw it. Boom. Boom. Goes ahead and makes contact. Kink. The ball goes ahead and flies straight upward. Doesn't go out. Doesn't go left or right. Just goes straight upward in a huge arc. And you see Jacques go ahead and sprint, start to run. A lot of people are kind of just sitting around where they're going to go ahead and see the ball go ahead and just flies over in a perfect fucking arc over to where the pitcher is currently just standing with his glove up, waiting to catch it. And just at the moment you think he's going to catch it, bunk. It goes ahead and lands a few feet to his left. And you see Jacques finally go ahead and land on first base, stand up, whee! And that's where we begin our scene. During that whole kerfuffle, what was Alice doing?
Alice is strangely enough watching the game. when the first strike went home, she was trying not to laugh. When the second strike went home, she's just kind of watching, and when he finally hit the ball, again, she's mostly just watching. She's happy he's happy. She's not really a huge sports fan, so she's not really as invested in the game as a lot of people watching are. But she's happy that he's doing well and that is making him happy.
Okay, cool.
That's the way she sees it. I mean, she's clapping along with everybody else, but yeah. As long as the people playing are having fun, that is the important thing.
All right. You seem to have yourself a seat at the stands there. There's a crowd there. Seems like it's a home crowd. Seems like it's young women, young gentlemen who appreciate the game at least. Maybe just shouting down for their friends or whatnot. The scoreboard goes ahead and tacks up. The Lions and the Hares are now just evenly matched. They have an even score to them. And as the second batter goes ahead and pings, and Jock goes ahead and takes third base, the batter goes ahead and takes first. We find ourselves in a very, very tense situation. We definitely don't need anybody to score any more runs. At least that's what the Lions are currently thinking. And they've started to huddle out at the pitcher's mound. They're talking, they're speaking, and you can see Jacques to one side. He seems to be measuring the distance between third base and home. Seems to be really, really measuring it. Eventually, the coach and the catcher and the pitcher goes ahead and disperses for a little bit. And, well, the first pitch goes wide. It's a ball. Second pitch also goes wide. It is the second ball. You realize that they want to walk this person because they don't want to go ahead and deal with an outright strike. This guy, last time he was on bat, went ahead and hit a home run. A home run right now would probably seal the deal for the Hares against the Lions. So they're playing the odds. You can see Jacques get really, really frustrated. He wants to go for it. He wants to run for it. And it gets to be at about a point where they're going for the fourth ball. They're going to walk this guy. And he hits just by the slimmest margin. You hear the aluminum bat make contact with the rubber ball, and it just sort of flies, and you notice that it doesn't quite reach the batter's glove. It doesn't quite reach the second baseman glove. But once it goes ahead and hits down, you can see Jacques just running for it. You can see the previous batter running for first base. The ball is in the second baseman's hand. He goes ahead and rolls back and throws it through the air. The ball goes ahead and flies. The third out is there. It is there. It is flying. The first baseman is there. He's got his glove out. All he has to do is touch that ball. All he has to do is catch that ball. And that third out will take place, and that'll seal the deal. But just as it's about to happen, Jacques goes ahead and jumps, leaps, pounces, whatever you want to go ahead and describe it, slides along the fucking dirt towards home plate, and he stops just short. Like 3 inches short. Jacques goes ahead and slaps it with last remaining energy before referee goes, "You're out!" He goes ahead and does that stupid thing where he jumps up and says, "Woo!" I'm safe.
And Alice is clapping. The crowd is probably cheering and on its feet, and she'll stand up and join them, but she's not jumping up and down like a lot of the people. She's just kind of standing and clapping. If he looks in her direction, she'll wave at him.
I go ahead and wave at you. You can see that his friend shirt is now completely covered in dirt and gravel and slight bits of mud.
Yeah. But that's kind of part of the course when you're playing sports.
Yep.
There, she'll give him a big thumbs up.
You can see a lot of the the hairs also go up to him, start to drag him over back to their side of the field, and with a last out, and with the scorecard reading a very, very secure by one slim fucking margin, one would say 3-inch margin victory. The teams go ahead and congratulate each other and start to gather on their side of the field.
Alice will make her way down from the stands, but she'll stay outside the field area. She's kind of heading to talking distance, but not trying to interrupt him and his team doing team things.
There is a bit of a wire fence you can just sort of lean on.
Yeah.
And the team goes ahead and talks about what they're going to do next. And some people say that they're going to go out. Some say they're going to go for beer. Some say they really, really need to go ahead and, I don't know, get back to adult things. As in, I got a job tomorrow. People give them a little bit of a jeer.
Or kids that they have to go and look after.
Yeah.
One or two of them have probably already got said kids on their shoulders to celebrate.
Yep. But after a while, it's kind of determined that if you're going to go ahead and have an after party, they're going to go ahead and meet at this place called Tookies. They got burgers, fries, lots of beer, pizza, whatever the fuck you want. But Chuck, for his part, is going to go ahead and say, yeah, I'll meet you up back over there. And he's just going to go ahead and separate away from the team that's currently enjoying themselves, enjoying the fact that they won, and walk over to you and lean on the wire fence that you're also leaning on.
Congratulations.
Jacques currently has a stupid smile. He's completely and utterly exhausted, and he's currently hanging by his fingertips. Yeah, thanks.
She's going to ruffle his hair to get some of the dust out of it. Seems like you're the team's hero today.
MVP, at least for tonight. Not usually the MVP. Usually I'm just the guy that touches the base.
Well, that's kind of the point of a team, I guess. For everyone to chip in towards the main goal of winning. She shrugs. You probably get the impression that she's not had a great deal of experience with team sports.
You notice that Jock goes ahead and takes one of his really, really dirty leather gloves from his pocket, goes ahead and slaps your shoulder with it. Hey now. MVPs are very, very important. They're the anchor for the team. Well, actually, last week it was Baker, and Baker's usually a dunce.
Well, it's important to feel valued, I guess. But I thought the whole point of having a team was that everyone can kind of do something that adds towards. She shrugs.
Maybe they do. Maybe I just haven't been playing with these guys for long enough. They seem to have a good click going, though.
Well, that's good. And everyone seems happy. Even the
Mhm.
Lions. I mean, obviously not happy that they lost, but generally happy with the game.
He goes ahead and nods. You can see on the other side of the field, the Lions themselves are jeering and cheering and counting all their accomplishments and having their own plans where they want to go.
Yep. I kind of figured as much because it's amateur stuff. So everyone kind of commiserates just as cheerfully as they do celebrating. But yeah, she's gonna kind of brush the dirt that his glove has left off her shoulder. Because she's actually wearing quite a pale dress, so it's the dust kind of shows up, so she'll kind of brush that off. But she doesn't seem too upset by it. She's not going to pull one of those girly faces and like, No.
You'll notice that earlier this evening when Jack picked you up and you were wearing something like that, he gave you he gave you a very, very questioning look. Because to him, that's quite a pretty thing to go ahead and bring to a baseball game. But yeah, he sort of said and shrugged about it.
Yeah. She doesn't see a reason not to, you know. Going out somewhere, it's a nice sunny day. Why not?
Well, Jacques will go ahead and do quite briefly gesture for you to go ahead and follow him on your side of the fence for him to grab his baseball bag.
We'll kind of
He'll
stroll along.
he'll meet you at the gate with a bag. Looks like it's got it's very, very much a mildewy smell coming from it. You see that packed inside there are a few, well, one baseball gloves, the bat as well. He slings it over his shoulder, or more dirt and more grime goes ahead and falls off of him. And he goes ahead and looks to you and says, "Well, I do apologize that we didn't go anywhere befitting that wonderful dress you got."
She shrugs. It felt like it needed some air. And she does like a little pirouette spin thing just for the hell of it.
Well, we got a few options depending on what you want to do. We can go ahead and try to catch a few of the guys over at Tookies, get something to eat. We could go ahead and wander off to do something else. Or if you let me go ahead and get it cleaned up for a little bit, we can see about doing something else.
Well, I figure even if we head over Tookies, it's probably a good idea if you get cleaned up a little bit. So you go ahead and do that. And I'll see you when you get back out. She shrugs. And then she pulls a small book out of her handbag and waves it at him.
He looks at the book. What is this?
Oh, it's just a small book of crossword puzzles.
I gotta go ahead and get cleaned up because There's no water facilities here. I gotta actually go to my place.
That seems a bit silly of them. You would have thought with a bunch of people diving into the mud that have made sure that there was a shower in the changing rooms.
Not a big a field. Over at some of the other lots, they've got this big fancy sports complex and whatever have you. But here, this place is kind of just what we went ahead and found.
Fair enough. She'll shrug.
Oh, believe me, the Lions, they don't have the best fields.
Well, seems like a perfectly good field to me. It's just the facilities afterwards. Shrugs, kind of looking down at the grass and scuffing her shoe on it slightly.
All right, let me tell you this. This place isn't too far away from my own place. I'll go ahead and get cleaned up, and I'll see you in an hour or so.
Can do. Takes you an hour to get cleaned up. Must be the hair, huh?
Yeah, it's totally the hair. I just gotta get ahead and have it perfect.
Wouldn't want it to go frizzy.
Absolutely not. Meet you over at Tookie's.
Sure.
All right. With that, he'll go ahead and depart away from you.
Ruffle his hair again.
He goes ahead and waves you off. No, bad woman, bad woman.
Why?
My hair is dirty. You'll get your hand dirty.
Shrugs. And then just kind of, the clapping your hands together thing where you just, and all the most of the dust comes off. And shrugs.
Goes ahead and shakes. You're weird. You know that.
Yes.
You okay with that?
Like you're not weird?
Oh, I'm a totally normal gentleman.
That meets up with people because there's buddies in their dreams?
I see.
Totally normal.
He goes ahead and looks at you and simply says, I know of no other way to do it. And I know of no other better way to do it.
You know what? You are utterly bonkers, but I'll let you in on a secret. All the best people are. And she'll give him a very big grin.
Very well, very well. Like I said, you can go ahead and meet up with Steve and Baker, and if you go ahead and get to Baker before me, go ahead and make sure that he actually saves me a seat and gets my drink. I got a very, very particular drink. It's called domestic beer, not even the foreign stuff. He always tries to get this Corona stuff, tries to put a lime in it, and he goes ahead and forces me to drink it. He doesn't know what I like. He just doesn't.
She'll shrug. Fair enough. See you there. Just kind of stroll off.
With that, the two shall depart, only to gather again within such and such time. Tookie's at this particular hour, not too overly crowded, not too overly busy.
But I'm guessing there's quite a large group in one corner of the friends and family and players that didn't end up diving headfirst into the mud or dust.
Yep.
Yeah. Because
they're various
it's only
degrees
the
of
last play of the
cleanliness.
game, really, that someone does something that gets them dirty enough that they have to really go home and change.
Oh yeah, they're at various states of cleanliness, but none of them tripped into the mud.
Yeah. But by the time Jacques gets there, she's probably having a laugh with some of the wives and girlfriends that are joking about something. No idea what. Something to do with hair. I don't know. Just be having a bit of a giggle with them.
And a lot of the men are joking about, well, I don't know, something about women that they murmur to themselves quietly every so often.
But yeah.
But yes, Jacques does indeed go ahead and appear in t-shirt, button-up plaid, overshirt, jeans. Seems to have cleaned himself quite nicely, and he may have even shampooed his hair with something that smells like vanilla. Not sure.
Excellent. Alice is currently digging into some pizza.
Okay. Jacques, for his part, goes ahead and rushes on through, narrowly avoiding several waitresses and other rowdy customers, apologizing quite profusely to one, ignoring the other as he screams at him.
She's got a big chocolate milkshake. And she'll gesture to the beer that is also sitting near her.
Jacques will go ahead, once he reaches the table, goes ahead and grabs the beer and starts to sip at it. What's there?
It is, in fact, a domestic beer.
Yes! I'll go ahead and give it a glug.
I want American domestic, but there you go. Yeah,
He goes ahead and he drinks a few gulps, goes ahead and sits his happy ass down, and takes a plate and starts to divvy himself up a bit of pizza. Looks to you. So, points to all the women that are currently giggling. What's that all about?
We were just talking about how just over there, your teammate, was it Ron? Yeah, Ron. Have you noticed the back of his hair at the moment?
He goes ahead and takes a quick look. What's wrong with the back of his hair?
At this point, Ron turns to talk to someone, and you notice that there's this like one smear of mud that is just sticking part of his hair up at the back. Just the rest of his hair is fine. Just this one bit.
Ooh.
And clearly, nobody's actually got around to telling him.
You all are terrible people. You know, as he starts to grin and giggle as well as he's on the inside the joke now. After a few gulps of beer, he starts to take a slice of pizza for himself and starts to eat it. You notice that he's very, very ginger with his slice of pizza. The pizza here, it's not firm. It's actually quite limp. But the cheese is perfect. The pepperoni is spread out quite well. And you notice he actually has to take two hands to lift it. And afterwards, he sort of goes ahead and rolls the end towards the crust so they can actually eat it properly. Eats it from the side of his mouth.
Alice folds hers in half the other way. You know, the down the line of the middle of the pizza.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. At least
So
we know that neither of us is going to be nibbling at rabbit food.
gives a head and shakes his head.
She gives him one of those "it had to be done" looks.
Rabbits, their diet, lots of greens, lots of leafy greens actually. You would think a lot more carrots based on the cartoons, but nope.
Nope.
Lots of leafy greens.
Lettuce and spinach, and dandelion.
Sometimes apples. Sometimes softer fruits and harder vegetables. Actually, it's quite surprising how much root the rabbit goes ahead and eats.
Mm-hmm. So it's also surprising why people don't eat more dandelion. Sure.
Well, when they look at the dandelion, they don't see food. They see that interesting little flower that nobody remembers.
But the root's edible, the leaves are edible. They make a nice salad, and the flowers can go into tea.
Jack goes ahead and balks at that. You make it into tea?
Yeah.
What's that like?
Well, it's surprisingly enough, it's a bit of a floral flavour. It's a bit like a cross between chamomile and violet.
Imagine I don't know. I don't know what any of that tastes like.
Okay, now imagine trying to describe the flavour of a strawberry to someone that has never tasted raspberries or blackberries or any kind of berry.
Yeah, I'm gonna eat more pizza. You notice that Jack goes ahead and takes a thumb and finger and goes ahead and takes it really, really close to your face, and you notice that he's currently focusing his attention on a little bit of string of cheese that is between your pizza and your mouth. Goes ahead and plucks it and puts it on the metal pan. Sorry, I was just really distracted.
Well, they do say you should never eat pizza or pasta on a date, but yet Italian restaurants always seem to be popular. Could be because it tastes good, but it doesn't necessarily make you look the most glamorous when you're eating it.
Goes ahead and shakes his head. Goes ahead and shakes his head. No, 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 no. You don't go to an Italian restaurant to go ahead and look glamorous while you're eating the meal. No, 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 no. You go to an Italian restaurant so that you can drink the wine so that you feel glamorous as you're eating the food.
See, I always thought you go to an Italian restaurant because the food tastes awesome and you don't care if you look glamorous because the food tastes awesome.
Used to be a place, actually, that had this wonderful, wonderful Roman chicken. Called it Poto Roma. Would eat it every time I went there. It was like a standard dish. Had nothing else. Actually, for 10 years, I went to the same restaurant and always ordered the exact same thing. To the point where when I walked in, they already had something as soon as I stepped in and was seated. It was rather awesome.
That is kind of cool, but at the same time, I often think it's nice to try everything on the menu before deciding on your favorite.
I can say that I was quite fortunate to find my favorite on the first go. Here's the thing. The chicken was fantastic. It wasn't dry. It was the opposite of dry. It's quite moist. You can go ahead and separate it with your fork if you really wanted to. And the Parmesan's cheese they went ahead and layered on it was utterly fantastic. The angel hair pasta, they went ahead and seasoned it with all these wonderful basil and tomatoes. It was just absolutely wonderful.
Well, it sounds lovely.
What's your favorite dish?
For general everyday, I would say lasagna. For something that you'd probably only want to eat once in a very rare while, but it's really worth, something that you wouldn't want to eat very often, but it has a bit of a kick. I would say pickled seafood salad.
Pickled seafood salad, you say?
Yes, yes. My friend has a Chinese recipe, and you've got these tiny little pickled octopuses and some squid rings and some mussels, and it's all tossed up with cold pasta, and it's just delicious. It doesn't sound, but once you get all those flavors going together, and I swear she will not tell me what she puts in it, but once you get all those flavors going together, it's refreshing but filling at the same time.
So you say that your friend goes ahead and makes this. Do you have her number? She says with a stupid smile on his face.
Yeah. Yeah. I can ask her if she can send some over.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
They're so cute, the octopuses, though. Seriously, little tiny pickled octopuses. Their little arms curled up. And they almost look too adorable to eat, but then they just taste awesome.
You notice that Jacques was a little bit taken aback, as if halfway through his last statement he realized that he said something of what he believed to be a little bit of faux pas, and tried to cover it up by stuffing his mouth with some pizza. Non-committal munching noises.
It's not for everyone. Just shrug.
It's about this time that most of the pizza has been completely and utterly devoured, and a lot of people are starting to get into what we call a food coma.
No.
You know that Jacques is not above succumbing to the food coma.
Aww. Alice looks very mildly drowsy, but she hasn't eaten enough to get full food coma. Because full food coma requires dessert.
As soon as you go ahead and think that thought, waitress, a young woman, goes ahead and walks past your table and says, "Would anybody like some dessert?"
That sounds great. She'll smile.
You've already had the chocolate milkshake, so she goes ahead and recommends several of the sponge cake, But as you look over the dessert menu, a few things go ahead and catch your eye. The first one happens to be a Napoleon Sundae Supreme. It is strawberry, vanilla, and chocolate, as well as Rocky Road ice cream, all piled together with nuts and banana slices, all different kinds of syrup as well. And on the other side is a devil's food cake. It seems to be primarily all chocolate. Chocolate sponge, chocolate icing, even chocolate sprinkles and chocolate chip nuts. It's insane.
I think she's going to go with the chocolate, all the chocolate.
Very well.
Do you want to order anything?
Jack goes ahead and looks to you, looks at the dessert menu, and simply says, actually, you know what? I'll go ahead and have the vanilla milkshake. I think that'll do me.
Alice is just going to shrug.
I don't need something elaborate. I just need something sweet. With that, waitress goes ahead and does a quick, brief detour, goes to all the other tables. Your table is served first, and of course, there is this. You watch the waitress as she goes back to the counter, and she goes behind the counter and brings up this huge cake. You could swear it's at least a meter wide. You could swear. You're not sure, but you could swear it.
Actual meter wide, or you just mean it's a good hand's breadth and it's just huge for an individual?
It's huge
Actual
for
meter wide is a bit weird.
It's huge for an individual, and to be quite honest, it's about 40 centimeters. Not that big. Still huge, but you know, she goes ahead and cuts off a slice.
40 centimeters is kind of the size of a pizza, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I'm well aware. The metric system is not insanely foreign to me. It's just only a little bit foreign to me.
Just checking.
She goes ahead and cuts off a slice, and she lays it on the plate. When she goes ahead and lays it on the plate, there is just this chunk. You can see it. And you don't hear it, but you could imagine hearing just the plate go chunk as this chocolate-covered chocolate goodness goes ahead and is buried. It is wafted. It goes ahead and floats and hovers in midair. It is surrounded by a shining aura, at least to your mind's eye.
And I take it's the kind where they warm it up and it's all gooey in the middle as the icing melts, and the icing on top melts everywhere. And then it comes with vanilla ice cream.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she's demolishing a good portion of this chocolate cake, if not the whole thing.
You go right for it. Jacques on the other side is sipping very, very happily at his own milkshake, watching you go ahead and devour your cake.
Nom, nom, nom.
He's watching your mouth, and he's watching the vacuum effect of the cake into your mouth. And is currently thinking his own thoughts about that.
To be fair, she's not doing the kind of huge mouthfuls face. No, she is eating it normally, just a little forkful at a time, but it's all going down.
You attack the cake repeatedly. Your fork is your sword. Shink, no, shink, shink, no.
Yeah. One slice,
You're
absolutely perfect amount, I think.
mm-hmm.
So yeah. She's happily devouring her cake. She will kind of gesture in his direction if he wants to have some as well.
Oh, he's gonna go ahead and shake his head. No, 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 no. Too much chocolate for me.
She'll shrug. I tend to find that if I don't have too much chocolate at home, I just eat lots of chocolate whenever I go out. It all balances out in the end.
So chocolate for you is a little treat that you have when you go out, not something you store at home. Okay.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a tub of ice cream in the freezer in case of emergencies, but no, I don't generally eat much of it at home.
In case of emergencies.
She's going to give you a raised eyebrow of, you know what those emergencies are.
You see a very, very lost and confused expression over his face, and in general, just he closes his eyes and just accepts it. He throws his hands up in surrender.
Anyone that does not have a tub of chocolate ice cream in their freezer in case of emergencies is probably allergic to chocolate.
I don't keep a list. Fair enough. I don't keep a lot of sweets home. Actually, what do I keep? I keep a fair good bit of pasta, fruit, a lot of fruit actually.
Mango's always a great pudding dessert. She would have said.
Really?
She nods.
I remember once a long time ago, I got really, really into the pudding phase, and then frozen yogurt was a thing that I greatly enjoyed.
Yeah, sorry, she would have said dessert. It was a British thing saying pudding.
Oh.
American. Sorry.
No. Apologies.
So yeah, mangoes always makes a great dessert.
Tell me about it.
Mangoes?
Yes.
They're kind of, if you get them when they're ripe, they're very soft and juicy and sweet, and kind of papaya-ish. Again, it's probably something you'd have to try to know what it tastes like.
For me, I always enjoy melon, actually, but not like red watermelon. I like orange melons, I like green melons when it's in perfect season. It's quite enjoyable.
Mangoes are kind of sweeter version of that. They've got a lot of the same texture and flavor to them, but it's more rounded out. Similar juiciness, more flavor.
Okay. I can get behind that, I guess. For myself, never get into watermelon. Too many seeds.
I always find watermelon is a bit lacking in flavor. It's very watery. But it's great if you freeze it and use it to cool down drinks, and you can just kind of snack on it, and they generally have picked up a lot of flavor from the drink.
Fair enough. The last time I actually had a proper mango. I think that's what it was. It was orange, so I assume it was mango. It's actually a fruit cup over by bagel shop. And the reason I went over there is because my friend was working there, and he told me about this fantastic thing that was happening. Usually, when you go ahead and start any early morning restaurant type thing, like a donut shop or a bagel shop, employees usually have to get up about 12 or 1 the morning beforehand, and they spend the entirety of the morning going ahead and making the dough, getting it all baked up, and all its different accoutrements. Kolaches are also something that I need to go ahead and grab one of these days. But they go ahead and tell me that for the resources you expend, you get a butt ton of profit. That's why those places are always just so dang popular.
Yeah, I mean, most of what you're paying for is the skill in the baking. The ingredients you could probably get for about 25p per bagel. 50 cents. I'll go 50 cents per bagel. And then the rest of it is assembling it correctly.
Manpower.
Correctly. Practice, lots and lots of practice.
Fair enough.
You're partly paying for all of the ruined bagels that they had to make in order to be able to make your bagel correctly.
Really? Because I never thought about that.
Well, it takes a lot of practice. To be fair, baking anything consistently so that it always looks exactly the way people expect it to look takes a lot of practice.
I can definitely imagine that. I remember what I learned like a few years back when I got told about how they go ahead and make all those fast food commercials and how the food on the commercial is so wonderful, but when you actually get to the restaurant, it just doesn't look the same. And I realize it's all fake. It's all plastic and cardboard.
Yeah. It's also because it takes a lot of effort to make things look perfect. And if you want things cheap, you're not paying for that extra effort.
Well, what do you think is better? Something that's cheap and plentiful, or something that's perfect but rare?
I think it depends. I mean, cheap and plentiful. There's lots of things that are cheap and plentiful that are also perfectly healthy and wonderful in their own right. And there's a lot of things that are rare that are only valued because they're rare and not because of any inherent quality. But at the same time, there's a lot of things that are cheap and plentiful because they've been filled with a lot of rubbish. She shrugs.
Cardboard.
Swings and roundabouts. Some things are cheap because they're plentiful, and some things are cheap and plentiful because there is little value in them, or they've been watered down. I mean, sunshine. Sunshine is cheap and plentiful. It's all over the place. That doesn't mean it isn't wonderful. It doesn't mean you can't enjoy a good sunset or a sunrise, or that it doesn't provide all the energy for all the plants. Sunlight kind of makes the world work. that it's still cheap and plentiful.
It's cheap and plentiful to us, but when you think about it in a more cosmic scheme, the sun, where we get all this energy, it's kind of rare. I mean, compared to all the other material in the solar system, it's exceedingly rare. I mean, you only get that kind of thermal nuclear reaction right there.
Not really. The majority of the bulk in the solar system is in the sun.
True, but it's all about location. Location.
Yes. And it is wonderful to be in the Goldilocks zone.
Absolutely. Not too hot, not too cold. And again, it's all about location. I mean,
and water. Water
here's the
being
thing.
weird. Which brings us back to the weird conversation earlier. If water wasn't weird, we'd be in big trouble.
Water is indeed weird, but how would we be in trouble?
Well, water is specifically weird because it expands when it becomes a solid. It gets less dense, which means it floats. It's pretty much the only liquid that does that. If it didn't, if it sank, well, there'd be nothing to melt it, and gradually the entire ocean would freeze from the bottom up. Whereas if the ice freezes on the top, it insulates the water underneath.
Making it warmer.
Precisely.
Interesting. You know, they say that all the life on the planet went ahead and evolved from very, very, very particular circumstances at the bottom of the ocean, where it was warm, where light could just about reach it.
Oh, that would be the bottom of the ocean then. But yes, carry on.
Bottom of the sea, bottom of a lake, maybe some of the shallower parts of a beach or something like that. In any case, I'm not talking about the Mariana Trench. I'm talking about like just at the bottom. It was really, really okay. Can you imagine the first extinction event on the planet?
Vaguely.
Okay.
I think it's quite hard to imagine what the creatures would have been like before that. I think I read in a book somewhere that they were like giant sponges everywhere.
Yes, but even before the sponges, the first major extinction that ever happened on the planet was basically a bunch of tiny little microbes going ahead and shitting out oxygen at each other. Couldn't do anything with the oxygen. They died. The oxygen producers lived on, and soon they went ahead and died because they had nothing to go ahead and continue their existence. And we had the first major extinction.
Well, photosynthesis is important.
Very important. You can imagine that at this point in the conversation, a ton of people have already had their pizza, their dessert, their beer, and are starting to wander off, leaving the two of you in a back booth, pretty much left to your own devices, with a lot of the waiting staff starting to wait on through.
Well, this brings us back to the importance and rarity or common sunlight. Sunlight, it can be either rare or common, depending on how you look at it. But either way, it's very important.
Oh yes, very, very important. I can't imagine a day goes by without me appreciating the sun.
That's good. A lot of people don't.
goes ahead and slaps his face. That was a joke.
Yeah, she does give you a look like she knew it was a joke, but she was going with it anyway. Personally, I do a salute to the sun most mornings. It's a
Okay.
good day.
You're weird. I accept this.
Yoga. It's yoga.
Yoga, you say?
Yeah. It's a good way to stretch and limber up before you start wandering around for the day. And the specific routine that I tend to go through is called the salute to the sun. It's designed
Okay.
for first thing in the morning.
Okay, so you're a yoga practitioner that does the salute the sun during your mornings. Gotcha.
I wouldn't say I'm a yoga nerd. If you want a yoga nerd, you need to talk to my cousin.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What's he like?
He's got kind of dreadlocks all the way down to about waist length. Basically, he tends to run yoga retreats and spend a lot of time in the Mediterranean. Not entirely sure why the Mediterranean, but shrugs.
Is he Greek?
No. He did meet his boyfriend there, though.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Congratulations to them.
To shrug. Yeah, I basically only know about 3 routines. They're good, but let's say certainly wouldn't try teaching yoga. So what about you? What do you tend to have as part of your morning routine that makes you a little bit different?
I usually flip myself over from my cot. I go ahead and crawl from the ground over to the refrigerator, grab a carton of orange juice, drink it entirely, place the empty carton back in the refrigerator, and usually have a few calls with a bit of my assistants over at the shop before I even walk over there.
Fair enough.
I got, well, let's see, who do I have? I have this energetic young girl that absolutely loves the animals that we've got. So it's not that hard to go ahead and get her engine running in the morning. She's usually there before me. So I just went ahead and one day just threw the key at her and told her that she was responsible for opening up nowadays.
Fair enough. You sell animals?
I own a little bit of a pet shop, and I go ahead and sell adoptions for small little critters. Sometimes cats, sometimes a puppy. Rabbits are a good seller of things. Usually, I just go ahead and arrange adoptions between the local animal shelter and anybody that comes by. I find that a little bit more humane.
Did I tell you about the hair that got left on my doorstep?
I don't believe so.
Oh, there was a hare in a cage that was left on my doorstep about a fortnight ago.
Mhm.
So I took it out into the woods and set it free. But then it was clearly a wild hare that someone had put in a cage, rather than a tame hare that would have no idea how to survive out there. She shrugs.
About he goes ahead and looks at you and says, "About whereabouts did you went ahead and set it free?"
Um, to the south of town, about a mile out.
He thinks for a hard second. He seems to be focusing on a place on the table, narrowing his eyes, and then after a while goes ahead and nods. There's a bit of prairie land out there. There's a bit of prairie land out there that I think that creature would find itself very, very nicely situated in.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And do you often go out there, just hike outside?
On occasion. The picnic out in the by the brook wasn't the first time I've been wandering outside the city. It's a good way to spend a Sunday afternoon, I think.
Hmm. I found myself a little bit of a ridge outside of town that had a bit of a steep, steep hill to go ahead and climb. It's a very nice, very, well, wouldn't say relaxing, more like exhausting and then relaxing little trek.
I'm not a particularly good climber.
It's not like a steep thing. It's not like a really, really. The steep never reaches 75 degrees if you're worried about that.
Ah, okay then.
I'm not asking you to go ahead and come with me to go ahead and go rock climbing. No, no, no. I'm just telling you about this very, very nice, steep little hike out in the woods.
Well, as long as I can take it at my own pace, it sounds like a nice little trip.
Hmm. Me, I've been up there once or twice. What I actually really like to do is to go ahead and bring out some of my telescopic equipment, my telescope, stargazer equipment, excuse me. Outside of the city, you can see quite a lot. I remember he goes ahead and shakes his head. I remember there was a town that I lived in for quite a long time, and it was like a day and night transition for me when I left and came back. Before I left, the entire sky was absolutely clear, not a single source of light pollution. But when I left and I came back, I could instantly tell where the Walmart was because it was the brightest thing on the fucking horizon.
Yeah, it can seem a bit claustrophobic at times in the cities,
Hmm.
which is why it's good to get out of the city every once in a while. And it's also good to kind of build a mini oasis of your own.
Absolutely. With good food and good friends.
And plants. Lots of plants.
Very well. We can go ahead and include plants in this little equation.
Would it be a mini oasis in the city where you can kind of express nature if there weren't any plants?
No, I guess not. Whenever I think about an oasis in a city, for some reason I always think about For some reason, I just always think about these city parks actually, and they seem kind of out of place.
I always think it's important to have running water, either a fountain or a stream or something, and plants and places for the birds, and then the rest you can just kind of fill in around that. Personally, I have a beehive.
You're a beekeeper.
She nods.
Do this by hobby or by practice?
Bit of both. My mother always kept bees, so I just kind of got the hang of it. And then once I was settled in here, she gave me the nucleus to start a new hive.
Okay. Assume that you have the stuff you gather from that hive you got at your shop.
Yeah. It doesn't produce a lot of honey, being only one hive, but yeah, I have sold it sometimes.
I think it's cool that. Say again?
I eat most of it. Only one hive.
You know what? That's really cool that your mom was able to give you that and for you to go ahead and start your own little thing.
And it's good for all the flowers in the neighborhood.
Oh, of course.
In fact, they roam over most of the city, probably. And it always feels a little bit like a security system.
Bees as the security system.
Yeah. I mean, people aren't going to climb onto your roof if there's bees.
I don't see how that would affect people unless your particular bandit was allergic to bees.
Most people tend to avoid bees, especially as they generally can't tell the difference. Most people can't tell the difference between bees and wasps from sound.
Goes ahead and shakes his head.
They've
No,
even-
no us, no us, no us, no us.
They've even used bees to keep elephants away from fields.
Really?
Yeah, I saw it on the Discovery Channel at one point. They'd set up this fence and they'd put beehives every 30 feet or something. And every time the elephants came near, the bees would buzz because they'd be like, stay away from our hive. And the elephants would just wander off again because they're like, we don't want to mess with those bees. But then, to be fair, it wasn't Africa. You don't want to mess with Africanized bees.
I would imagine not. Whenever you go ahead and put the qualifier African in front of anything, it seems like something you don't want to mess with.
She's going to give him a raised eyebrow and then shrug.
African ants, African bees, African elephants, African lions, African cockroaches. See, you can apply it to anything.
Well, most people call them killer bees if they've got some African in their DNA.
Oh boy.
Which is why we make sure that we mark the queen and the drones, so we know if any outside bees have come in, and we can check them, make sure that they're European.
How do you mark them?
There's It looks a lot like nail varnish, but it's a special kind that's designed to basically not make the bees sick. But you put a tiny dot of color on the back of the bee, and it just stays there. And you look at the bee. Does it have the dot? Yes, that's a good thing. You don't mark all the bees, obviously, just the queens and the drones.
Mm. You know, I had a sister once on a blue moon long time ago. I was really, really into, well, hunting with different animals, dogs specifically. And they would go ahead and hunt, well, hare, wherever hare hunting actually happens to go. And she went ahead and took me along. I was a little bit of a rugrat. She was much older than me. And while they were all hunting this one hare that they went ahead and spotted off in the distance, sort of went ahead and roamed my own way. Found this little den of rabbits, and I took one of them for my own. Then I started to walk around with it. And when my sister came back around and saw me playing with it, she had this really devastated look because she knew that I would want to keep it as a pet. And she sort of shook her head like, no, we can't bring that back. And for some reason or another, I started to cry or wail my ass. But she went ahead and came up with this excellent compromise. She told me to go ahead and put the rabbit down, and she got out a bit of nail polish, like your bees, although I imagine not the exact same thing. Went ahead and painted their toenails, actually, the rabbits and its family. She went ahead and promised me that so long as she went ahead and hunted, she would not hunt any of the rabbits or any of the hares with their nails painted like that. And I think that went ahead and satisfied me for a little bit. At least according to her, I stopped crying my eyes out.
I always think it's a bit strange, people hunting for fun. Hunting for food, I get. Hunting for fun, not as much. I mean, I get coursing with lurchers if the lurchers eat the rabbit at the end. But if you're then just going to pat them on the head, take them home, and feed them something else, why set them hunting the rabbit in the first place?
Jock goes ahead and shrugs. People are evil and the world isn't fair.
I think there's a variety in people, just as there's a variety in most things. There might be a reason. I just don't understand it.
He goes ahead and shakes his head. The world is confusing without thinking about why hounds go ahead and hunt if they're not fed at the end of it.
No, I understand why the dogs do it.
It's just the general practice in its totality. Why would you do it? What benefit does it help anyone?
Pretty much. I don't really get bullying either.
Well, I think I know why that's all about. Well, say you get this person in front of you, and you don't like him, or his existence is a little bit cumbersome for you. You don't really understand him. And say the quickest way to go ahead and resolve a lot of your problems when it comes to him is just go ahead and threaten him so that he runs away. your life is a lot simpler just by threatening somebody else to go away. People are dicks.
She'll shrug.
And if people have a solution to most of their problems, they will take it 9 times out of 10. Doesn't matter what it is. Whether or not it's bribery, whether or not it's trickery, whether or not it's just bullying or intimidation.
No, I don't mean intimidation where you're trying to get something as an end result. I mean people who do it for enjoyment. Again, it's like the hunting.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got an end goal, it makes sense. I may or may not agree with it. That varies on the situation, but it at least makes sense. I don't get why it's enjoyable. But then I suppose different people enjoy different things.
Tis true, tis true. You know that Jacques goes ahead and takes another long gulp from his domestic, and it's the end of it. It is the end of his drink. He goes ahead and sets it down. Looks at your own. Would you like another? Or be ready to get on out of here?
I think I am quite ready to waddle somewhere else. And pats the stomach, which is not huge. But she's definitely feeling it right now. But then Jack's been eating a lot of pizza too, so he's probably feeling it too.
You notice that Jack's going to go ahead and pop out of his seat for a hot second. He looks at the ticket, takes out his wallet, and goes ahead and places a few $20 bills and sets it all underneath his empty beer bottle. Goes ahead and gestures to you. Shall we leave?
By the way, when he gets out his wallet, she'll pop a few 20s on the table as well. Just as a matter of course, she'll just kind of put them down there with it. And she'll slide it out of the table.
He notices it and is like, fair enough. Takes one of the bills and places it back into his coat pocket. And once you get off your chair, he'll go ahead and sling an arm over your shoulder and say, shall we leave?
Lead on. And she'll kind of
right.
Put one arm around his waist and lean into his shoulder.
And away they go. And unless you got something super secret and awesome and tricky, I got nothing else.
I think they're going for a happy wander. They could probably go for a wander through the park and appreciate the sun and the sunsets and the plants and oxygen. Appreciate oxygen.
All the happy little plants farting out oxygen at them.
Yeah.
If you want to give us an outro, please do so.
So, as we leave Alice and Jacques wandering through the park, smelling the flowers and the leaves, and patting the trees. Nice little good job, trees. And just generally enjoying the day. And by the time it starts to get dark and a little bit chilly and they're ready to go their own directions, they've enjoyed quite a lot of conversation and some good company. And in general, had a nice day and can look forward to going climbing together.